Hi there. This is Jacques from MakuluLinux, and today I'd like to do a full-on review on the new 2.5 that we've released, the 2.5 version of MakuluLinux. And I know I've been doing a lot of little video clips all over, focusing on themes and things like that, and what's new. But I'd like to actually do a full review to sort of sum everything up in a nutshell and show the power and the beauty of MakuluLinux 2.5. So for those that have never seen one of the videos before, I just quickly recap. MakuluLinux, Makulu is the Zulu word for big chief. So um, it's basically pronounced Makulu. So MakuluLinux, that's where it comes from. We've associated the hippo as one of the biggest African animals, and so the image of the hippo is associated with the name Makulu. So that's why you see a lot of the hippo wallpapers and backgrounds and that kind of thing. Anyway, so MakuluLinux offers 5 desktop environments, which is Cinnamon, GNOME, KDE, Mate, and XFCE. The reason for this basically is that um, you can download one distribution, and no matter if you're on a powerful machine or if you're on an old PC or if you just feel like a change, you've got 5 different desktop environments at your fingertips. You can log into either one of them and continue working where you left off. A lot of the apps are shared between the desktop environments. Even the theme is standardized between most of the desktop environments, so you almost sport a standardized look across the desktop environments. Of course, it's not exactly the same. They each have their own flavor, their own feel, but pretty much it's standardized across all the desktops, so it's always got a very similar feel. So yeah, I'm gonna log into Cinnamon and then show you what to expect. Okay, so first time you log into Cinnamon, you will notice the hippo background, which is quite awesome. You'll notice that we've put the computer and home, trash, and Makulu help icons on the desktop. After about 20 seconds, there we go, you'll also notice that we've put a conky on the desktop, which shows off the clock, your time and date, CPU usage, memory usage, disk usage, and your up and download network usage. So the Makulu help basically just opens up the frequently asked questions section of our website. So if you double click that, it will open up in Opera, take you directly to the FAQ section, where you can have a look through and see if any issues you currently have are listed, or if you just want general knowledge on certain aspects of Makulu, it will pop up there. The second thing you'll notice is that we have a sort of a dark ambience theme. Now this is what we refer to as the ambience graphite theme. It's a mixture of ambience and the Dollarian dark theme. So it's kind of the two combined, gives you this ambience graphite theme. Of course, it being Cinnamon, it runs Nemo, the Nemo file browser. And as you can see there, the theme really shines through. It's a very beautiful theme, very pretty. It sports black, sort of a charcoal grey, orange, and blue. Blue's the fourth color, and the blue you'll see if you highlight anything in the menus. The blue really shines through there. So yeah, so it's got a very pretty theme. Even the bars, your sidebars also highlight the blue. Anything you basically click should highlight the blue. And you've also got a little bit of a transparency on the theme, so it's a very pretty theme. I especially like the fact that that it really enhances the brighter colors. Your icons almost look like they want to pop out of the screen, and the lighting and shadow effects really come out. So that's really awesome. We're running here Cinnamon 1.7.4, I think it is at the moment. It's 1.7.x, so I think it's 1.7.4 at the moment, and basically it's the unreleased Cinnamon that Mint is going to be releasing with Mint 15. the Mint team. And a couple of updates on that. Obviously, you've got a lot of background updates, a lot of stuff going on in the background that you don't see. But visually, you'll notice the first thing that you see is the little bars that they put under for disk usage under on your sidebar, which is quite awesome. I just want to recap quickly on all the programs that come pre-installed in MakuluLinux. You have most of your standard stuff. You've got Archive Manager, background, backup, Bluetooth, you got your brightness and lock, okay, let's go down, sorry, accessories. You've got your calculator and your contacts, and gedit is obviously pre-installed. Pluma is pre-installed. Your screenshot utilities in pre-installed. Terminal. Variety is a desktop wallpaper changer, probably the best in the world as far as I've seen. I haven't seen better. That's pre-installed. Games, you've got BillRGL, Safrino, and Steam is pre-installed. You can pretty much just log in and play. That's quite awesome. That's Steam for Linux. Under the graphics side, you've got your document view, image viewer, Image Magic, Color Paint, which is very similar program to Microsoft Paint. You've got LibreDraw, and you've got Shotwell, and obviously Simple Scan. Under Internet, you've got Dropbox, FlareGet, InSync, which is a Google Drive sync app. It actually puts a little applet on your toolbar. Very automated, very nice to use. You've got Mumble, which is the Open Linux community. It's basically a voice chat program. It's very awesome. Opera is the browser of choice on MakuluLinux. FlareGet obviously catches the links from Opera, so you got your multi-threaded downloading manager linked to Opera. It's very easy to install Chrome or Firefox if you wish to do so. However, the default browser that comes with MakuluLinux is Opera. Pigeon is of course your instant messenger. Thunderbird mail, transmission, and XChat IRC. Okay, under Office you obviously got LibreOffice. Sound and video, you've got your audio mixer, you got Brasero and K3B, which is both CD/DVD burning applications. Brasero is more for your entry level first time users kind of thing. K3B is your more advanced users. I always think of the two as Nero and Nero Burner, and then you get the what's the other one called? Damn it! The easy one. There's two Nero Burners, Nero Burning ROM, and then Nero Burner, whatever. So yeah, Nero itself has two modes. You got your beginner and advanced mode. They kind of work like that. And then of course you got Radio Tray, which is awesome for streaming online radio stations. Rhythm Box for your music. Sound recorder is always obviously included in most distros. You got your Totem video player. You got VLC media player, which is your default media player on MakuluLinux. And then you have there we go, VLC media player. It's quite a nice. The skin has really come through nicely on that as well. And then of course you got your Voco screen, which is a screen recording utility. It's actually what I'm using right now to make this video clip. Very automated, very awesome. It's like literally automated. You kind of just click start and go. The options on it, there are a lot of options you can set, but it is automated. Even any kind of beginner can use it. Wine comes pre-installed on MakuluLinux. I think it's version 1.5.29. The PPAs are added, so any updates for Wine will automatically come through and update your Wine to the latest version. Preferences, pretty much all the standard stuff: date, time, color, Bluetooth, background, disks, details, file manager. Gparted is installed in MakuluLinux. Main menu editor. What else is here? Okay, this is all pretty much standard stuff. Okay, your software center, which we've linked here into the favorites, along with package manager, your software and updates, which controls your drivers, additional drivers, and of course your software PPAs and so forth. System settings and terminal, and files. Those are the items linked in your favorites. But the software center of choice in MakuluLinux is of course Deepin Software Center. We love Deepin Software Center. It's faster than Ubuntu. It's Software Center. It's faster than Mint Software Center. I actually think it's got more options than both of them put together. It sports a very nice look. You can even change the theme if you wish to do so. You know, it's got a couple of themes. Of course, the sort of grey graphite theme goes with us, with the Makulu theme, so that's quite cool. In your repository, you've got it even lists the size of the item you want to install even before you click it. Very easy to install items. You just click on the install button. Should you wish to see more details, you can simply click on the item and read the description, see the ratings. You know, it's pretty much automated. Very nice. And of course, read the comments if you wish to do so. So yeah, Deepin Software Center is a software center of choice. Very nice, very automated. We like it. So yeah, that pretty much covers the applications that come with MakuluLinux. Of course, the new Cinnamon also supports the new control center, which is more basically just standardized everything. You know, you've got your themes in the control center now, as well as your desklets, extensions, and so forth. They've kind of just centralized everything into the actual control center. I'm a little disappointed that they did not make good on their word that they would be removing the additional drivers from the software from the software sources and include it in the control panel as they said they would. I mean, that, as far as I understood, was one of the big things that they were going to do in the new Mint, in the new Cinnamon. But who knows? They may still do that. I really wish they would, because you know, for first-time users, they have a hard time installing those drivers when they don't know where to look for them. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but you know, all good things come in time, I suppose. So yeah, that's Cinnamon. Opera, of course. Let me just open Opera. Start with a page. Start with speed dial, sorry. There we go. So Opera, the first time you open Opera, this is what you'll be presented with. You'll see a lot of speed dials, do a lot of shortcuts all over on the internet. We've added some very useful shortcuts. Of course, you can go to the Makulu help, which takes you to the FAQ section. You can go into the forum, our live chat room, of course our Facebook page, and then of course you can go to Google, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, DistroWatch, News Portal, News24, eBay, PayPal, Steam for Linux, Steam Community for Linux, YouTube, Information Movie Database, Dropbox, Ubuntu One, and you've got the weather as well. So a couple of useful speed dials already preset. You can add more just by clicking the plus sign. There are a couple of extensions pre-installed on Opera, mainly to hook up with FlareGet, which is the multi-threaded download manager. There is also AdBlock on here pre-installed, so it blocks a lot of the adverts all over the net, no matter where you go, which will save on bandwidth and kind of make things less annoying. There's also auto linker, which turns any link on a page, even if it isn't clickable, it will turn it into a clickable link. You also have web caching for the guys that are very limited on bandwidth, so they can cache their websites or view cached versions of websites, save on bandwidth. And you've got Opera to Mobile, which is a little extension that sends your pages or current pages you're viewing directly to your Android mobile phone. We have also fixed the on the previous versions of Opera we had issues with the skin. Text would overlap. We had this big orange block over here, so that's all been fixed. So you sport this nice ambient sort of graphite grey black kind of theme here as well in Opera, so that is very awesome. Anyway, so that's Cinnamon and most of the apps pretty much in a nutshell. We've enabled a couple of the extensions and the applets on Cinnamon. As you can see, you can preview the little video there. Let me just see if we put on cover flow. I know that no, I didn't enable it. Okay, well, you can enable quite a lot of the applets. There are more applets that you can download off the internet. I know cover flow alt tab is the one I usually install myself, which is awesome because it gives you the sort of 3D flip effect in Cinnamon, which is easy to enable. Let us move on to the next desktop environment. Okay, so next GNOME. This is GNOME 3.8. So GNOME and Cinnamon pretty much share the basic framework. They both forked from GNOME. and pretty much GNOME is just a shell, which means it will use the same file browser as Cinnamon does, which is Nemo. So I'm not going to cover much of that. We have enabled a couple of Conky obviously starts up with GNOME. It starts up with all the desktop environments. We have enabled a couple of extensions on GNOME just to sort of give it a better look and you know, just give it our own touch. You'll notice firstly that the weather is pre-installed, so you can just change the settings there. It's currently set to my hometown, but in weather settings you can change the city. Your network speeds, or network monitor, whatever you call it, the extension's been enabled by default. And of course we've added the advanced settings as well as the panel settings. Advanced settings will open up your GNOME tweak tool, where you can then go through and set pretty much whatever you want to. There's a lot of extensions that we've added but disabled by default, so you can play around with those as much as you want. Of course, the advanced panel, the panel settings will allow you to put your panel at the top, put your panel at the bottom, as you see I'm doing here now, or to auto hide your panel, to put it in overview mode only. You can set the opacity of the panel. So pretty much a couple of nice useful extensions. We've added the favorites as well as taskbar to the panel. So yeah, you've got pretty much all your favorites listed there. You've also got a little preview if you hover over something that's already been opened. So yeah. Oh, and our start menu, we've opted to go for a more sort of classical, more traditional start menu, which has two modes. Okay, you've got your category view mode, where you can sort of view items in a category, or you've got your alphabetical mode, which runs obviously from A to Z through all the pages, and you can browse your apps via alphabetical mode. You can also activate the traditional GNOME 3 start menu or application launcher by clicking on the activities button, and yeah, there you go. Now you're in your pretty much the traditional GNOME 3 applications menu that everybody, you know, sort of knows. So yeah, so that is pretty much GNOME 3 in a nutshell. Funny, ironic nutshell. Anyway, so yeah, it's also got the ambience look and feel to it, and runs pretty stable. I mean, all of our desktop environments run very stable, and as you can see, they share the same theme. I'm gonna come back to KDE later. I want to first move on to Mate and XFCE. So let's log into Mate. So yeah, now this is Mate 1.6, the new Mate 1.6. The first thing you'll notice obviously is from the bottom panel is the graphite sort of look. So we have brought in the ambience graphite theme into Mate as well. It is in all the desktops. The second thing you'll notice is that unlike Cinnamon and GNOME, the highlighting coloring is orange, not blue. Remember I said earlier that each one has its own sort of flavor. You know, there's little minor differences between them all, even though the look is standardized. In Mate it is, when you highlight something it will pop up orange, not blue. Okay, so that's a little minor difference that you'll see. We've also included in most of the desktop environments, we've included ample themes that you can, as you can see, there's lots of themes to choose from. Pretty much in pretty much almost all the environments that's the case. So you can easily change a theme to you know, pretty much something else, whatever you want. Of course, we use MakuluMate, which is the theme's name in Mate. Okay, let's open up Kaja. Kaja is the default file browser in Mate, and as you can see, we've got the ambience theme and look here as well. Unlike Cinnamon, however, it has the white background as well. As you can see, it actually looks a lot like Nemo here. I mean, pretty much the theme kind of, it's so standardized that it almost gives it a Nemo kind of look, you know. But I assure you, it is Kaja 1.6.1, um, which is a very powerful little file browser. I'm not going to go into great detail about the file browser itself. I just wanted to show you this awesome look and show you that it is functional, that everything is working. So yeah, everything is pretty much peachy in Mate. But I tell you, this is an awesome looking Mate. When last did you see Mate look this good? Anyway, so yeah, that is pretty much Mate in a nutshell. There are a couple of items that will come with Mate that obviously will not come with the other desktop environments. For example, under preferences, or is it administration? No, it's preferences. Control center. The Mate control center differs obviously from the Cinnamon control center, as you can see. It actually has a lot more options, but then again, Mate was always more configurable than Cinnamon. So yeah, that's pretty much Mate in a nutshell. I'm gonna move on to XFCE now. And once again, when you log into XFCE, which is a very lightweight desktop environment, pretty much if you're running older PCs or less powerful PCs, most likely XFCE is the desktop environment you'll be running. But the first thing you'll notice obviously is the graphite panel at the bottom as well. The menu, which is actually very sleek looking. We've gone with the more traditional, actually in most of our desktop environments we've gone with a more traditional layout, with the bottom bar, the bottom panel, Windows list, little taskbar, shortcuts, and the menu on the bottom left, all except for GNOME. GNOME, we felt, you know, the standard look for GNOME is the bar at the top. Most users know it that way, most users like it that way, and so we didn't want to change too much, and that is why we left the bar at the top. But for the rest of the desktops, we've put the bar at the bottom panel, we've put the panel at the bottom with the start menu at the left bottom corner, the little taskbar with shortcuts, useful shortcuts, and we've given them all the sort of graphite ambience look. It's easy to change the panel. If you want it on the top, change it on the top. Pretty much whoever downloads this is obviously going to customize it to their own needs, but the standard look that we've put in is the sort of traditional look. So yeah, as you can see, the start menu looks very sleek, very nice. It actually looks very awesome. It's had a nice little overall. So yeah, let's move on to the file browser, which is Thunar. Thunar, there we go, Thunar 1.62. So the first time you log into Thunar, you're gonna go, what the you know, you're gonna think, yo, this does not look like this, this is awesome, because because you know, the theme just enhances it so much that it almost looks like it's had a major upgrade, you know. But yeah, I assure you it is Thunar. Very awesome looking Thunar, of course. You've got the blue back in Thunar, unlike the orange in Mate. So the sidebars will highlight blue, the menus will highlight blue, items that you click will highlight blue, sort of a more darker shade of blue. But yeah, this is Thunar. We've enabled some custom scripts in Thunar. Open terminal here, open as root, edit as root, create a tar from file or folder. If you right click on ISO, you'll have mount ISO. If you right click on an image, it will say edit image, or open with open image, or view image, or whatever. So a couple of custom scripts that we've written for Thunar, but pretty much Thunar looking very hot. I mean hot. I mean, this is awesome. Really, between Mate and Thunar, I don't know when last I've seen two versions, well, a version of Mate or a version of XFCE looking this good. Once again, you've got your of course your settings manager, you know, which is the control panel for Thunar. Also with this, come on, I hate working in VirtualBox. Also with this ambience graphite look, the whole blue, grey, black, orange, which is pretty much awesome. You can obviously change your themes. We've put in quite a list of themes available that you can set to. So yeah, that is XFC in a nutshell. Also shares the Conky theme. The backgrounds, of course, I'm going to cover the backgrounds just now. But yeah, that is XFCE, looking really nice, very hot, very stable. It's sleek, I tell you. Yeah, let me move on to KDE. I don't want to make this video too long. So, logging into KDE. Oh, what can I tell you about KDE? I've had so much uphill with KDE. You know, most of the bugs I had to fix over the last 3 weeks, people were laughing at me at one stage because of the headaches and the swearing. And yeah, KDE was a real bitch, to put it in plain terms. I don't know what the developers were thinking, but KDE nonetheless. The first thing you'll notice of KDE is that we've improved the startup, the boot up time of KDE. Of course, the Conky theme pops up in KDE. We've put a few shortcuts on the bottom panel. Your menu is the standard KDE menu or application launcher. Dolphin is the file browser of choice. So you know, we've added quite a lot of services to Dolphin. You can send files to Dropbox, InSync, Ubuntu One. You've got compression options. You've got root actions, normal actions. So yeah, pretty much Dolphin is a very powerful file browser, and we've also kept the ambience look. Unlike the other desktops, we've gone more with a more creamy kind of feel to it. It just I don't know, it just feels nice in KDE, you know, especially because KDE is so vastly different to the other desktop environments that it should really have almost its own look, even though we still kept the whole ambience theme to it. We just went with a more lighter look to sort of you know, establish that this is a different desktop environment, and yeah, it just feels nice, it feels comfortable with this look. So KDE running very stable at the moment. We had a lot, and I can't say this enough, a lot of issues to sort out with KDE. I mean, from visual bugs to like real hardcore bugs, to login problems and boot screens that got stuck, and you know, we had issues with the colors, theming, and some of the parts of the theming and colors showing through to other desktop environments. I tell you, KDE was a mess, a real mess when I started working on KDE. But I managed to put in some hard work. I managed to get it running stable. I managed to get everything sorted out. It took me literally about a month. Literally about a month of grey hair growing on my head, trying to sort out KDE. But you know, I stuck with my guns. I kept at it. I'm glad I did, and I mean, look how nice KDE is running now. It's stable, very stable. No issues, well, none that I've really come across. You know, and it's fast. I've really spent a lot of time trying to increase on the performance, to increase the speed. I mean, even the booting up, you saw how quick that went in, because KDE 4.10 really is so slow with boot up. The first time I installed it, I think it took me about a minute and a half to log into KDE. I was like, what the hell? How am I supposed to build a distribution with this kind of, you know, I knew anybody logging into this is really going to say this distro is slow, mainly because KDE took so long to boot into the actual desktop. So I spent a lot of time optimizing that and getting that down as much as possible. So now it takes a mere few seconds, which is awesome. So those are the 5 desktop environments in a nutshell. Pretty much ranging from high resources to sort of your mid-range resource usage, down to your lightweight desktop environments. Whether you want to run Cinnamon, KDE, GNOME, Mate or XFCE, doesn't matter. You can log into the one, start working on something, then log into another one and carry on working on whatever you were doing. It's pretty much an all-in-one distribution, allowing you to switch between the desktop environments as easy as clicking this little white button over here, switching your desktop environment and logging in. That is it. That's how awesome it is. I've spent a lot of time sorting out conflicts between the desktop environments. I mean, a lot of time. So they pretty much all run well together now. I haven't had any major issues at all. So let me show off the wallpaper collection that comes with MakuluLinux. Now, since we are based on, we base ourselves on the whole hippo look, we've included a couple of default wallpapers with MakuluLinux. You've got, of course, the one that shows up in the login panel, which is the hippo with the kids. You've got your default desktop one, which is the hippo parking, which is the hippo instead of a car. You've got hippo skating, which is a sort of a hippo on a sled or whatever. You've got the hippo water, which is a hippo walking through the water with a bird on its back, and a bit of sea life surrounding it. You've got the hippo in love, which is one hippo giving another hippo flower. And, you've got the hippo nap, which is another nice looking sort of background. You've got the hippo in the wild, hippo drinking water in the wild. You've got the hippo apple, which is a hippo with an apple in its mouth. You've got the hippo with banana, which is a hippo hanging off a tree with a banana in his hand. I think he thinks he's a monkey or something. Of course, you've got the hippo cake, which is a hippo on its side, sort of, with a couple of ducks on him. So yeah, you've got a fair selection of background environments, which just sort of adds to the uniqueness of it all. But in a nutshell, this is a very, very, very nice distribution. It runs very stable. I don't know what more I can say about it, except if you use it, you'll know. We've pretty much kept everything traditional. We didn't want to bloat it up with dock bars and too many flashy items, because all of that can be added afterwards, and not everybody's into that kind of stuff. So we tried to keep everything, apart from Conky, which we thought uses very little resources and really adds to the eye candy. We pretty much spent basically our only time spending spending any time making anything look pretty was theming wise. We thought we'd really go all out with the theming and add the eye candy there, rather than bloat it up with software to add to the eye candy. Some other useful items we did put on is, of course, Ubuntu Tweak and Ubuntu One. Now, even though we don't run Unity, Ubuntu Tweak is still very handy because it has a janitor feature, which is nice for cleaning up any kind of cache and bloatware, as well as it has a lot of other little tweaks that you can set your options in your login panel, as well as you can set your MIME list so easily in Ubuntu Tweak. And for that reason we thought we'd include it. It's not very big and it has quite a lot of useful features, even if you don't run Unity. So Ubuntu One Wing obviously included because you get free online storage space, and a lot of people, even though they don't run Ubuntu, they have Ubuntu accounts. So with between the Ubuntu One, the InSync, which is your Google Drive, and Dropbox, that gives you 12 gigs of free online storage space at your fingertips in MakuluLinux. Dropbox has a couple of specials. If you actually invite friends, they up your storage up to 16 gigs. That will give you a total of 26 gigs of free online storage space. 26 or 27? 26, I think. So that's pretty awesome as well. So yeah, everything's pretty much standard. On par with most of the other distributions, application-wise. Looks-wise, I really think we topped the charts here. I think we're probably one of the more hotter-looking distributions. And of course, the fact that we've added a lot, apart from Cinnamon, I don't think I added a lot of themes into Cinnamon. I think there's just 2 or 3. But you can get new themes online really easily, just a click of a button. Most of the other desktop environments, we've included a bunch of themes. I mean, you can pretty much just change the look however you want. So the options are endless. So to recap quickly, you've got 5 desktop environments in a single distribution. If you're running on a newer PC, you can run KDE, Cinnamon, or GNOME very easily. They're very stable and very light on resources, considering some of the other distributions out there. If you're running an older PC or a more lightweight PC, you can install Mate or XFCE. MakuluLinux will remember your last desktop environment you were in. So if I reboot now, it will log me back into Cinnamon. So if you're running an older or a more lightweight PC, simply install MakuluLinux, log into XFCE. When you reboot, it will automatically, it will set XFCE as your default desktop environment unless you change it. So there's no reason not to run MakuluLinux, because whether you're using only one desktop environment, whether you're switching between all 5, it really doesn't matter. If you use just XFCE, then it will just use XFCE until you change it. So if you like to switch between them, it's as easy as clicking a button and you're in a different desktop environment. And so yeah, that's a very, very awesome feature, because most distributions, you have to sort of either install an extra desktop environment and then sit with all the conflicts and duplicate entries and just system instability and the mess of it all, or you have to download a whole extra ISO, reinstall it, reinstall all your apps, change the look, configure it, and all that just to have a different look. Where in MakuluLinux, you simply log out of one desktop environment into another desktop environment, and everything's done for you. So it's pretty much all-in-one distribution. We would have liked to have included Enlightenment as well. It was on my to-do list. In fact, I did mess around with it a little bit, but I found that Enlightenment just, it wasn't ready. I don't think it's really ready for multi-desktop environment usage at this point in time. I actually made a list of everything that's wrong with it, and it's quite long. So I will revisit Enlightenment down the road somewhere along the line and see if much has changed, and hopefully it has, and I can include it in some future release. But for now, I've just left it out for good reason though. So sorry to the Enlightenment fans, but the XFCE fans will be happy that XFCE is now included in MakuluLinux. So yeah, one of the better releases we have done. Very polished, very stable, very sleek looking. I mean, it is pretty. I don't think you get prettier than this. So with that being said, I would like to just say that you can grab your copy of MakuluLinux from www.makululinux.com. You can grab your copy straight from the website. In the download section, we are adding new mirrors every day. You can test it, give your feedback, whether it's good or bad. Yeah, enjoy using MakuluLinux, and we hope that it lives up to the hype. If you have any issues, please let us know so we can get it fixed as quick as possible. And this release, I think, we will probably do our next release. Well, it's hard to say, because our next planned release, let's put it that way, should be September, October. Anything can happen in between. I kind of wake up some mornings and I'm in that zone and I just start working. So who knows? I'm not saying we won't put out another distribution between now and then, but our next planned distribution is somewhere September, October. For now, this release is really, it will hold its ground against all the other distributions, I'm pretty sure. It's got all the latest desktop environments, some of them even unreleased. So yeah, let's see where the road takes us. It's been an awesome journey, awesome learning experience for me. I really enjoy doing this. I'm in it for the long haul, so Makulu will be around, I'm sure, for many years. Yeah, let's get cracking on downloading and testing, and then enjoy.